Hi and welcome to Lincolnshire Fen Crafts Needle Felting Tutorials. Nice to have you here. If it's your first time, you're really going to enjoy my tutorials. If you've been here before, then you will know what it's all about. So we'll get started. Okay, today we are going to make the body of the forest folk that I have created. So I'm not going to work on the dress just at the moment. This is part one. So we're just going to focus on getting this body right because this is the most important part. Really simple once you know the techniques, and I'm going to take you through that step by step. So I shall pop Fern of the Forest to one side. What you are going to need is a felting mat, foam mat, a hessian mat, whatever you prefer to use. Whatever you are using, always pop a topper on the top of your working surface. It just protects it, makes it last so much longer. And you will need just a standard felting needle. You don't want anything that's too fine and bendy. You want something that's quite robust, so either go for a 38 or a 36, because we're going to be working against the pipe cleaners, so it reduces the risk of actually breaking the needle if you do hit them. But I will be showing you techniques to avoid that. The second thing you are going to need are 3 pipe cleaners, a shorter one and then 2 of longer lengths. If you've just got short ones, then you can just wrap them around each other like so to lengthen them. And if you've just got the longer ones and you need one short one, then just double it over. Should be fine. So work with whatever you've got. So 3 pipe cleaners, your felting needle, your felting mat, and I have here for the body, I'm using some carded wool. These are in long lengths. Wool top will work just as well, but this is what I actually use in my kit as well, so that's why I'm using this today. And it's a beautiful carded, I'm not sure if this is Jacob or not, but it's a lovely coarse carded wool. So we're going to be working that as well. So move this one out of the way. So the first thing we're going to do is start with our short pipe cleaner. And what I'm also going to do is, because we are going to start on the head and we don't want it too bulky, in fact I'll do this for the entire piece, we're going to actually split this long length that we have here. So if it's quite thick like this, which is about the thickness of my wrist, maybe a little bit smaller, then just separate it down the middle like so, until you've got a thinner length. It's much better for working with. Now the first thing you want to do is just actually, you can see that, is just bend over small parts at the top of your pipe cleaner like so. You see that? Bend that over. And then what we're going to do is we're going to take a short length, so I think we'll pull off about this much of that, and we're just going to pop it underneath that bend we have created, as you can see there. Now that will come into play in a little while. This is actually the head we're making now, so this will form part of the head, but we just want to keep that there. And then we want to flatten that pipe cleaner down so it's secure, and then just twist it around like so, so it doesn't allow the wool to come out. And that's the first part done. The next part of the head, we're going to take another small section, not as long as that piece, probably about 2/3 that length. Just going to pull it away gently. Remember, hands apart, pull it away. And we are going to, or you are going to, wrap it around just beneath where you've just secured that top piece. Just keep that out of the way. And what I like to do is actually tie a knot to start with, because I find that if you tie a knot, it reduces the amount of felting you have to do, but it also creates a really nice firm core to the head. And when you're pulling it tight, keep those fingers close together. If you pull them apart like that, then the wool will pull away. Doesn't matter, it can be rectified, but it's better if you can keep it in one piece. So you see that's nice and tight. And then if you've got enough wool like I have here, flip it over the other way and tie another knot. If you're actually working from instructions from the kits for this as well, you will find all the directions are in the instructions as well. They marry up with what we're doing here. Okay, so there's no real front or back at the moment. As I said, just keep that out of the way. So can you see here, that's really nice and firm. So what we've done is we've created that really nice firm centre for the head. Now we're going to carry on creating that head. We don't want to come any further than where this knot finishes. So just wrap around one of the tail ends, keep it firm, pull it round until you've got the ends there, and then just diagonally with your needle felt those ends in. And so that's really nice and firm. You can just go around and secure it a little more, but there's very, very little felting needs to actually be done at this point. Just work around the back, just tuck in any loose bits at the top. So you're not really penetrating through, you're just securing that top layer, which is good. Come back here again. And now we're going to take this other tail here, and we're going to take that round the back and to the front. It doesn't actually really matter. And just keep your fingers underneath there. You can keep your thumb and your finger underneath just to stop it from slipping down. We don't want it to end up long. We want a nice round shape. And then just tack that on gently with the felting needle just to hold that in place. Turn it over and bring those loose ends around. And keep your fingers out of the way when you're doing this. You're working quite close to the needle, so be careful. And can you see how we've got a really nice shape going on here? So now just start to shape it, make it a little bit more circular. And keep it going. And there we go. A bit like a lollipop with two tails. Now the reason we've got these two tails is now what we do is we pull these over and around the head shape that we've just created to make it a little bit bigger, and this also becomes part of the body as well. So we pull that down, just tease some of that wool around, don't worry about it too much, and that's just going to be pulled down and pulled secure there, as you can see. And then what you're going to do is take a piece of either wool top or a piece of string, doesn't matter what colour it is, and can you see where we had that pipe cleaner bend over? So that's holding that nice and secure now. So we'll just pull this down And we'll just tie a little bit of wool top around there, but you can use whatever you've got, piece of string, piece of cotton. You won't see any of this, and just pull that nice and tight. And then if you want, you can actually knot it. There we go. And there we have it. So that is our head, which we will move around a little bit to tidy it up a bit later on. But basically that is our head ready, and we are now ready to start our arms. I'm just going to snip off those loose ends there, because we don't actually need those, and that will all be hidden and tucked away. So pop that to one side, take the long pipe cleaner or two shorter pipe cleaners twisted together, and take a piece of the wool that you're using. Now with the arms you want to start off with a really thin amount, so again pull away small amounts. We want these arms to stay really nice and slim and firm. So I'm just going to pull off this length, much more than I need, but that's okay. Right, the trick is, as you can see, these arms here, the hands are a little bit wider, and you can't see any of the pipe cleaner here, and there's a trick to doing that. So the first thing you want to do is you want to wrap around 2 centimeters of wool around the top of the pipe cleaner. Now, because this is a chenille pipe cleaner, it may be a cotton covered pipe cleaner, but the wool practically sticks itself, so there's not much need for actually using the needle. So wrap that round, and then just hold it there, and if you want, just to secure it, just push down the side of the pipe cleaner, avoiding actually hitting the wire, and go gently. So if you do hit the wire, it shouldn't matter. That's all you need to do, and then just come down, and you want about 2 or 3 centimeters of the top part of the wire done. And then what we're going to do is we're going to actually bend that over so that you've actually already felted. You see that? You've already felted where the hand is going to be, and because you've bent it over, you've actually created some width as well. So we're going to just carry on. I'm going to wrap that wool around that bend now, and then felt into position. There'll be a little hole where you've bent it, and you can push your needle through that gap just to secure it, and that's all you need to do. And then what we're going to do is start working our way down the arm, keeping the fingers close to the pipe cleaner, nice and secure. Don't worry about any lumps and bumps, we'll come back to that, because we're just going to twist and turn the pipe cleaner as we go, keeping that wool nice and flat as we turn. We don't want it twisting and getting thick, because we want nice even arms. So if you use your thumb and your finger to keep that in place, and then when you've got quite a way down, can you see how lovely and neat that is? But just go in diagonally at a few points just to secure it. Now you can stop here, pull that off and leave a gap. We don't need to do the middle part. Doesn't matter if you want to carry on as one long length, you can. But when we actually wrap the arms around, it just stops them being as thick. But it doesn't really matter, it's just the way I like to do it. If you want to just carry on, carry on. And as you can see, I've got a little bit loose there, so I'm just going to push down. And then all I'm going to do is just, where that hand starts, I'm just rubbing that in the palm of my hand. And you see how that's flattened that down nicely, and just press that with your thumb and your finger, and you can see you've got that nice shape for the hand. All done. And then we're going to repeat that for the other arm. So this is both arms as one piece, which makes it much easier. So remember, just wrap around the first 2 to 3 centimeters. If you want, when you start, you feel more confident just by securing it, then do that, and then just keep going around. The trick is to keep the wool flat. Don't let it twist, because if it twists, that's when you start to lose the shape. That's the only thing you really need to think about. Apart from that, it's quite simple. Keep going down, and then just felt it there. I think I'll just do a little bit more there. And then what we're going to do, as we did before, we're going to bend. So put your thumb sort of in the centre of the area you've felted. We've created that bend, you see, there. And then we're just going to continue to wrap that around the hand. Hold it there, and then there's a gap where it's bent. You can just find that gap and push through the centre of it, and that will tangle those fibres together to secure it. And then find the way that's most comfortable. Get the wool between your fingers again, and then just begin to twist. Keep it nice and firm. You don't want any gaps, so you don't want any pipe cleaner visible. You may have white or brown pipe cleaners in the kit. It doesn't really matter because it's all covered up, but I'm using white just so you can see the contrast between the two colours here. And then just keep going. I think that's more than enough. Pull off the loose bit, wrap around those ends. Diagonally, just poke that wool in a few spots just to secure, and then go to the hand and just felt down any areas that are looking a bit lumpy. These are just really sort of delicate pokes with the needle. You're not going at it, it's just going through that top layer, and there, as you can see. And then you can again roll in your hands just to really smooth it. And what it also does is the friction and the heat match that wool together even more, just to secure it. And there you can see you've got two arms which look pretty even and not quite identical, never will happen, but almost. Now to attach the arms under the head, move this out of the way. Lay the centre of the arms underneath the head. Don't worry if it slips down, we'll push it back up, and then wrap one over to that side, so they're both there. Bring the other one back over. This way you'll make sure that both arms are of equal lengths, and then flip it over. Bring one arm over again, and then the other arm over, and then we'll inspect, push it up, push it up. There we go. Arms are still looking a little bit long, so I'm going to pull that one over again and the other one over, and keep it in the same area. Don't let it slip down the body. I want to keep them up here, and let's have a look. That one's a little longer, so pop that there. And how's that looking? That's looking pretty good. And then what we will do when it's completed, we will bend those hands up like so. That one's a little bit long, so I am just going to bring that round the entire piece again. So again, this is just a case of twisting and turning until you're happy. That's better. Okay, remember the arms, they look quite long, but you will actually be bending them at the wrists like so, and also part of the dress will cover the arm. But if you want them a bit shorter, then feel free to wrap around once more. And there we go. So the arms are now done and ready. Now the next part is to actually create some body, some torso up here, and that's why we needed this loose wool. Make sure you bend it so that you don't go any further than that bend, because we're going to need that when we attach the legs. So all you're going to do is wrap that loose wool around the body and felt gently. Just tack it so it holds. Then bring the other piece around. You're wrapping it round almost like a shawl, and then what you want to do is come back up and bring it over the shoulders and to the back there, and just felt it down gently. There's no right or wrong way to do this. All you're doing is wrapping that wool round to secure it and create the body. You see? And then you do the same here. So bring that back up over that shoulder and bring it around any way you want. I'll just wrap it around the front there. Bring that tail round to the back or the front. We haven't decided which is the front or the back yet. And there we go. So you've created the top part of the body. So what we've done is it's all going to be covered up, but you need some bulk there. And you can actually pull those arms up like so. And then let's just secure this. So go in at a diagonal angle again. Until that's nice and secure. Okay, so that is our basic head shape. Our arms and our upper body is now complete. So to do the legs, they are made exactly the same way as for the arms, but this time you are going to wrap 2 or 3 times around because the legs need to be thicker, as you can see. So I will switch off the video, do the legs, and then come back when you've done them, and we'll actually attach them to this part of the body, very similar in the way that we did with the arms. So remember, you're doing 2 or 3 wraps around so that those legs are thicker and you've got nice sort of chunkier feet there going on. As you can see, I've got my legs ready here, and just to show you, it doesn't matter if you go the entire way down, that's fine. And mine are not looking too pretty at the moment, they're looking a bit lumpy and bumpy, so I just wanted to show you how we will deal with that. But also, I think I quite like my feet to be a little bit more bulky, so I'm just going to show you how to do that, and just take a small thin piece of wool, and we're just going to start at the very top of the foot, pull that little bit of wool over and just attach it. Don't worry about these loose ends, because look, what you can do is just pull those over. And then I'm just going to wrap that around the top area a few times, pull that off, and then just felt down all these wisps. And what you can then do is just bring over any bits that are hanging over the end, felt them in diagonally, and that gives it a really nice shape, which we'll firm with our hands in a moment. Can you see how nice and chunky that is now? So I need to add a little bit more to this one. So just a small piece again, just near the end of the foot. Bring those first few wisps over, have a little bit overhanging here, because when we pull that over, it creates a nice shape. And then pull that little bit over, and then take the rest of the wool around. A little bit too much there, so I'm just going to pull that off and just twizzle it around in your fingers, using your fingers just to mat it slightly so it holds. And then we can finish the job with our felting needle. Bring those wisps in, and can you see, because we bent the end over again like we did with the arms, we've got no problems with any pipe cleaners sticking out. So we've got a nice sort of chunky foot there. Now this looks a little bit untidy, so what I'm going to do is the same as I did with the arms. I'm going to roll it in my hands really quite vigorously, and what you can see that does is it really smooths the wool and go all the way down. And it also narrows, it flattens the wool a little bit so the legs don't look as thick. And it gets quite warm in your hand, which is what it wants to do, because that heat and friction is what mats it together. And then just where the base of the foot is, if you want, just to create a little bit of shape, you can really focus on just turning that area. And the same here. Don't do too much twizzling near the end of the foot, because what you'll find happens is the wool will actually come over the end and you'll start to lose that shape. So we're nearly done with the body. Final part. So take the piece that you worked on earlier. Now decide which is going to be your front and which is going to be your back. So if you need to squish that head around just to get that shape right, that's fine. Remember, most of this is going to be covered by hair, so it doesn't really matter. And that wool that we pulled over, you can just pull some bits around. And then if you just want to tidy it up, just go around, go into that neck area, just to shape it a little bit more. You can use your needle as well just to tease any wool over. But like I said, the majority of this isn't even going to be visible. So I'm just looking to see, and I think I quite like that side compared to that side, which looks a little less symmetrical. So I'm going to go with that as my front. So arms are in place. Now the reason we left this is because find the middle of your legs, so just bend them over, lay them on top of that piece of pipe cleaner that you left sticking out, and then just fold that pipe cleaner up and then just twist it in and secure it. Can you see what we've done there? I've just pulled it around the back there. It's just to keep those legs in place. They'll still wobble around a lot, but that's fine. And these are going to be the feet, so they're going to be bent up like so. And then what we're going to do now is we're just going to secure this part of the body so that these legs are even more secure. So you take a piece of your wool top or your carded wool, which is what I'm using here. Just tack that gently down, just so it holds. We're going to make it firm by pulling it tight as we go around. Just be careful of the pipe cleaners. There we go. So you can see that's just holding. And then what we're going to do is we're going to pull that round, secure it here 2 or 3 times. Just felt that in, and you see how that now has secured the legs and the top of the legs. So you can still pose them, but they are now much more secure and stable. I think one more wrap around, keep it tight, keep your finger and your thumb close, pull it round, and then just pull away any excess, flip it over, take those wisps and felt them down. None of this will be visible. So it doesn't have to be neat, but just make sure it's nice and secure. So you've got those legs tucked in around that pipe cleaner that we flipped over, and then for extra security we've wrapped this wool around the waist, bottom area and the top of the legs. And that is your forest folk body ready to be dressed. And this can be used for all sorts of creations, for fairies, for the forest folk that I'm making, whatever you really want to make. It's just a basic simple body shape that's nice and secure, easy to create and ready to be decorated.